Hey guys, welcome back. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a doll-sized pillow for your 18-inch dolls or any other dolls that you have. And I thought it would be fun to start with something simple and easy, because this is the way that I started sewing, is by hand sewing. And one of the things that I used to love making for my dolls is actually the bedding. I don't know why, but I did love making the pillows, the blankets and stuff and like that. And yeah, so I thought the pillow will be nice to start with, and since it doesn't require too much items for this project, the only thing you'll need is like some scraps of your fabric, the ribbons if you want so, obviously the ruler, well, everyone has it, some matching threads, the pins, the needles, some I have regular pencil, scissors, and the stuffing. So let's get to it. So the first thing is that this is a plain stuffing. You can get it at any craft store, or you can use anything as your stuffing for the pillow, even your tiniest scraps of fabric, I would say. But yeah, I got this at, I believe, at Joann's, and it calls the polyester fiber fill. Then you'll need, I'm using these 2 threads and they're going to match my fabrics. Also the pins, you can get them at any store. The needles, as I explained in my previous video, which ones you like probably. Then any kind of ribbon. I'm just using this color because it's going to match my fabric right over here. The thread helper, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use that, just for you guys to see that it could be used. Regular pencil, scissors, and this ruler. I personally love this ruler, but you can get any, I mean, you can use any ruler that has measurements on it. So anyways, I got this at Joann's. I do love it a lot. And then scraps of fabrics. So we're gonna be making, I think it's going to be 3 pillows if I'm not mistaken. That's what's on my mind. So we're gonna make sort of like as a set for your doll bedding, or for your cushion, I mean for your pillows. Pillows for the couch or any chair or stuff like that. So the first thing you'll need is that decide the size of the pillow that you want to make. So I've cut out these 2 pieces already out of my fabric, and I'm going to use this as a front and this as a back, but you can always flip the pillows front and back. And what you're gonna do, so this is 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, so you cut out 4.5 by 4.5, and in my next video I'll show you how I cut things out, I mean with my next pillow. So what you're gonna do, you'll put the face with face, right, and then to secure it, just use few pins so your fabric doesn't slip, and then it will be in the place, but you're gonna be taking the pins while you're sewing, right? And then you'll need your thread. I'm using this matching thread, and I'm gonna find the needle that I'm gonna use for here. I'll probably use, I like this one, because if you guys know, I do like the one that has a bigger hole in the needle. So for this pillow, I'm going to use a straight stitch, plain straight stitch, nothing fancy, very simple and easy. And I'm going to do the looping secure. Oh, come on, let's go. There we go. So I'm gonna set this aside. So, and then you're going to start about like 1 inch probably from the corner. Just be careful not to poke yourself with the pins. And I will use approximately 1/4 inch the seam allowance, because we are going to flip it inside out, so we don't need too much bulk and it's gonna look neater. So you just secure. And this is how, let's go all the way around with our straight stitch. So again, the smallest stitches you'll make, so now I'm gonna try to be making very small stitches, the better your project will look. It all takes time, and I'll show you the difference between the stitches. So you see, here I have bigger stitches, here I have smaller stitches, but here when I flip it inside out, I'm gonna go over them a little bit so you'll see later. And that's it. I'm going to fast forward this, and we'll come back when I finish. Now here we've come to an end of going around the pillow. So make sure when you did all the stitches, again, they're not pulling the fabric, so they're nicely neat and secured. And then you're just going to do your basic securing the stitch, and then we're going to flip the pillow inside out. There we go. When you flip inside out, to flip out the corner, you just putting your finger in the corner, and you're just gonna grab one side, not in the corner, but on the side. It doesn't really matter if it's gonna be this side or this side. Just don't grab the corner. You can do the same way with the other corner of the pillow. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the third and the fourth. Alrighty, so it's time to stuff in the pillow. So start by stuffing little by little. Don't put too much at once. And then make sure the stuffing does go into the corners first. But you can always use your finger, and for the larger projects you can use like a wooden spoon or something like that to put around the corners. But for this project, this is perfectly enough. And yeah, don't overstuff the pillow. The pillow is not supposed to be too hard, so it should be pretty soft, but there should be enough stuffing in the corners, that's for sure. So this is enough. So once you've done that, make sure, for example, like just close it over here and just touch it. I'm like, okay, that's good. It has enough stuffing. So now what you'll do is that for this part, you don't want your thread at the double thread. You only want a single thread because the stitches will be visible here. So you want to make it as neat as possible. Exactly, that's why the matching thread here is your best friend for this pillow. So and in this situation, you're going to put just only one thread through, and you're going to secure only one end, not two as in my previous video, but only secure one end. Put your put one end from the inside of the pillow right there, and step aside a little bit further, not where you finished it, but a bit further. And the way to close this pillow is literally you're just gonna go over, but not looping like we were doing with our overlocking. You're just doing, let me show it to you guys closer. Step a little bit aside, just put your needle through and go over. So you see, it's just overlapping the stitch. So when you come to here, you're going to crease it, and you're just gonna fold it. You may want to, for example, to make it easier, put your pin right here in the middle, so you'll know that this is where it's going to be. Oops, fell. It's a small pillow. Alrighty, so, and then just continue on to sewing. So here we are here at the end, and we're gonna go a bit over where we started with from the inside of the seam, just because we do want to secure, and we're just gonna go like 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 an inch, a bit further, and this is where we're just going to secure the stitch. Again, you're just gonna make a loop, put your needle through the loop, and then make a knot. And I'm gonna do this about 3-4 times. And this should do it. Now we can just trim this off. So if you guys can see, this is a very basic method to make a doll pillow. It's really cute and it's very soft, and you can use actually both sides. This is what I like about the pillows, that you can literally do 2-sided pillows and both of them can be used. So let's set this aside and let's make another one. So for this part, we're going to be using this fabric, and what I wanted to point out, when you cut out your fabrics for the pillows, you're going to see 2 things on the fabric. You're going to see this edge, which calls selvage, and this is the edge where you usually on the fabric you're going to see those little what are they, fringes, and usually you do cut them off. And then this is the length of the width of the fabric where they usually cut the fabric at the store. So what you always want to do is when you cut out a square for your pillow, like this square, you do want to cut out parallel to your selvage and to the raw edge, so it's an even 90-degree angle, and it's not going to be left or right. So you do want to make sure it's all straight. So I'm going to use my pencil and my ruler, and let's do that pillow. We're going to make I don't know, so since this one came out about 4 by 4, so let's make another one that's going to be 6 by 6. So we're going to cut it out by 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches, and let's say this is going to be the edge of the pillow. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna see, okay, so this is 2 inches away from the selvage, so I'm gonna measure 2 inches, and I'm going to measure 2 inches right over here. So now you have a parallel line to your selvage, and this is straight. So from this part, you're going to step aside 6.5 inches, and you're going to do the same way, 6.5 inches, and again, and you're going to make a line. So now this line runs along the grain. This is what the grain of the fabric is. When the grain is the least stretchable part of your fabric, and usually it runs along with the fabric of the roll, not in the width of the fabric. So this is the straight line for the grain, this is the straight line for the grain. To make sure that this line is even, is 90 degree from this line, I'm just gonna use my ruler, and I'm gonna just line up this little part of the ruler to this line, and I'm just gonna make a straight line right over here. There are other rulers that do have the longer part over here, and that's probably safer to use, but for this project it's pretty small, so this is more than enough. And I'm going to measure 6.5 inches right over there, and I'm gonna do again 6.5 inches right here, and I'm going to mesh them together. There we go. To make sure we're cutting out without fabric slipping, just pin it in maybe just a few places. Again, when you do make bigger projects, you do want to pin it in more places, but this should do it here for now. And we're just gonna use our scissors to cut the fabric. One little trick is that there should be specific scissors for fabric only, and the scissors that you use for fabric only, don't ever use it on your paper or anything else, because fabric scissors need to be very, very sharp to make it easier in cutting. Once you start using your fabric scissors with your paper, or especially cardstock, that's it, the scissors do get dull, and then they start it's not that easy to cut the fabric anymore. So let's take this out. Let's take the pins out. So for this pillow, we're going to be using this ribbon, and we're going to make a bow for this pillow, which I want this bow to run along the fabric right over here. So to do that, and it's not gonna have the ends hanging, it's gonna be sewn into the pillow. So to do that, we're gonna take this ribbon, and you're gonna want to take this ribbon, so let's say 10 inches. You're gonna fold it in half, and we're gonna run a small stitch down here, probably 5 inches, because remember, then we're going to fold it, and this is going to become a bow. So you don't want to make it too big or too small. So I may want to even actually like 4 inches better for this tutorial. So again, it just depends how big the bow you want it to be. If you want to make it smaller or bigger, I want it to be like about here, about this width. So yeah, so this is about 4 inches. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use my needle and thread, and I'm choosing here my cream thread, and I'm just going to have this line, have the stitch go over here. So see, this is a very good stitch for this kind of for this part. Now I'm gonna secure it a few times. All done. And now you're going to cut your ribbon about the same way. So this is basically how this would be. This is going to be the bow, and this is where the ribbon is going to go inside the pillow, and the bow is going to be like this. So I may want to cut this over here just to make sure I give enough of the seam allowance there, right? I'm gonna trim this off, and now what I'm going to do is that when I fold this in half, now I will need a ribbon just to go around this bow like this. So you may want to use the same ribbon, or if you'd like, you can use another one, like I have one over here. And what I'll do is that, because this one sort of like matches the back of this ribbon, and what you do when you go all the way in the back, you're just going to secure like here, over there. Secure your stitch, make the loops, and then just do your basic straight stitch for this part. And secure the stitch. And trim off the excess. Cut this off. And now when you flip it out, this is what it's going to look like. At this moment, this bow, I want this bow to be right here. But you may want to see that this part moves back and forth. So what I prefer to do, I'm actually going to secure this part with the back. So this is the tricky part, where make sure right now it's all evened out, and when you do flip it in the back, just let secure. And always trim off the excess. So now when you flip this inside, when you flip this facing you, it's a nice pretty bow, and the only thing you want to do is that just to play around with the bows and see how you like it. So now let's say this is gonna be one side of the fabric, and we're gonna put this bow right here, because this is how I want it to be, and I want it to be in the middle. You can always use the ruler to make sure it's measured, and you can always find the center of your pillow. So after this is done, I will use the needle and thread. I'm gonna make a knot, and I'm going to just make this kind of stitch that's just to secure the ribbon. So it's in place when I'm sewing. When you've come to this part, you don't want your bow hanging or like moving around. So what I'll do is that I'm gonna take my ivory thread or cream thread, and I'm gonna make it longer because I don't like it when it's too short. And here you can use the double thread. And what you'll do is that you're going to take this bow, you're gonna flip it inside, you're gonna flip it over, and you're just going to sew this part of ribbon onto the fabric. You don't need much stitches here, you only need a few. And now the bow is done on our pillow, and now what we can do is that we're going to put the other side of the fabric on top of it, and we're going to do the same way that we've done with our previous pillow. We're gonna go run all the way around, but before that, let's pin this. All done. Now I'm going to take my minty, or what color is this? It doesn't have a name. Alrighty. Right, so we're gonna start again from the corner, about 1 inch. But since this is a bigger pillow, I want to do the stitch that's more secure, which goes front and back. If you saw my previous video, I have it explaining how to make a more secure stitch. So now when you have anything like ribbons attached to your pillows, when you come to the edge of the ribbon, I prefer actually doing few stitches here, just to make sure the ribbon will not come out. And I'll do the same, and I'll do the same thing on so after you've completed all your stitches to go all the way around, of course you're going to flip your pillow again using the method that I showed you with the other pillow for the corners. Just going to flip it inside out, and we're ready to stuff it with after you think you've stuffed your pillow, this is what it should like at this point. This is where you're gonna want to close up your pillow. So for this project, I'll show you how to make a neater closure where you probably won't see the stitches that much as in the previous one. From the inside, right? Because you do need to secure this part a little bit. So this is probably the most where you'll see the thread, because I'm going to secure it over here. But again, if you prefer the other method that I showed you before, you can definitely use it. I just thought I could show it to you guys with this in this way. Right, so now you're sort of going to be stitching from the inside. So you're gonna take your needle. Let me try to show to you guys closer. Oops, my camera. Let me zoom in. Alrighty. So you're gonna go put the stitch from the inside, and then you're gonna continue stitching from the inside of the other side of the pillow. And after like 2-3 stitches, you close it, you pull a little bit, and this is how the stitch will be inside of and there we go. The pillow is closed. You just want to make sure to trim off the excess. So it's for you guys to decide which method you like to close the pillow. Yeah, so this is the pillow when it's done. All right, and now let's move on to our next pillow that I want to finish up the project with. So for my next pillow, we're going to be using this fuzzy fabric, and I'm going to cut it out about 6.5 inches by about by 4. So this is what it should look like when you cut out 2 pieces. Again, you're gonna fold it in half. You're gonna get your matching And here's your pillow, and it's all done. So now let's see how everything looks together. So here we go, guys. These are 3 pillows that we just made for our dolls, and it was really fun, easy video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know what's your favorite pillow that we've made, and you can always put them anywhere you would like to. So, thanks so much guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!